If he was still a bachelor, he probably have a Mizo wife, I think. Like, he loves it that much. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. The wife is there. Okay, anyway, so I don't know if you mentioned that he's also an engineer. Yeah. He's an automobile engineer. And I think from his college days, he's been writing a lot. And maybe he can tell us a bit about those things also. And first, I think it's very interesting that an engineer would be writing about football. Maybe in his hometown Kerala, that would be all right. But come on, football in the Northeast, within not just the south of India, but he's traveled all the way to Northeast, and that to Mizoram. I think that's a very interesting perspective. So can you tell me a bit about how you've decided to come to Mizoram, and the first time you came to Mizoram, you can start from there, and how you decided to write a book about football?
So, as an engineer who did not like engineering, it was something that all Malayali boys did at that time. We did engineering, whether we wanted to or not. But second year of engineering, I realized this is not for me. But I was too far in water, so I had to sort of swim to the other side now. So I finished that, and then I used to write for blogs and stuff like that. Just sort of, now when I look back, there is all these signposts that you can sort of, in retrospect, give you an origin story where I did this, and that led me to journalism or football writing. But honestly, it was just luck and fluke, and whatever else comes with that. So 10 years we did that. So the reason about Mizoram is, so the idea came because, and she's sitting there, so I don't want to embarrass her too much, but when we got together, my wife and I, she was a literature scholar, and she used to say really poignant and smart things because she's, read a lot and all that. And I used to feel little insecure, like, oh, I am not smart enough. So then it led me to keep reading a lot more. I used to read about sports a lot, but then expanded to reading about culture and religion and society and all that stuff. So somewhere in there, I read also Jonathan Wilson's book called Angels with Dirty Faces, which is about Argentine football. And Alex Bellos wrote a book on Brazilian way of life, football. So those all factors came together, and I decided, okay, why not look at something like India? Because India is in itself, in a weird way, a continent. How different we are with the language and the kind of...
how diverse we are.
How diverse we are. So maybe football will also be equally diverse. And then we started looking at the hubs of football in the country. And you have to pick up 10 or 9, or depending on my budget for travel and all that stuff. So Mizoram came really, really high on the list. Because I knew Shiloh Mama, Malsam Tuanga, from here, who was like a legendary figure, and I liked him when he played for East Bengal and all that. And subsequently, we had a lot of them come. Jwala, Daniel Alampuya, all of them were in Bangalore, and I was in Bangalore. So we were able to have conversation with them, and then Mizoram, Manipur, Kerala, Goa, Karnataka, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Calcutta, Punjab. These are places where I decided to go. Should have added Sikkim. I was on my way to Sikkim when there was like an avalanche or something, and the road got blocked. So I came back, and I didn't have enough money to, and time and money to just fly back and do that. So maybe second edition we can add Sikkim as well.
All right. So let's go back to the beginning. So essentially, your wife made you smarter, and because of your wife, you decided to write a book. Thank you so much, by the way. Yeah. So I guess it would be apt to frame Sacred Grounds as a cultural sports narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can structure this interaction around storytelling and the literature of grassroots in India. So can you tell me a bit how your research in grassroots started and how it differs from the actual mainstream football the commercial football, you could say, that we see on television?
So from a grassroots level, it's a lot more community driven. So when I wanted to write about football in different parts of the country, it didn't make sense to write about the top division. It had to be rooted in the local culture. So the idea was to do that. So in Kerala, we have a grassroots structure called Sevens football, where it's 7-on-7 played on mud grounds. different rules, very physical, very violent also at some point, very masculine in that sense. Similarly, we have black tournaments in Bangalore. Black as in, sell tickets in black, that kind of black. Because it is basically not given the registration or permission to happen by the authorities. So they would have these tournaments, again small-sided, because that is the size of the ground that was easily available. So they played in that way. Here in the Northeast, I see a lot of inter-village football here.
A lot.
A lot of inter-village YMA tournaments. The Young Mizo Association has an inter-ward football tournament, which is played with this kind of pride to represent your locality, right?
So it's very community-driven.
It's very community-driven. So it's driven by people, conducted by people, and played by the people in those regions. So it becomes an integral part of their life and how their life revolves around. So there are different versions depending on geography, depending on number of people available and all that. So you have 7 versus 7, 5 versus 5. Goa has a 3-on-3 and 1-on-1 penalty shootout tournaments, all these things. And Goa
Always famous for that. Yeah.
Yes, and Goan football local tournaments, their inter-village tournament, the finals happen on the feast day of the church.
Uh-huh.
So they do it in the morning and then they play the game in the evening. So it's become such a big part of the entire social bonding for them.
So Jerry, you've taken part in those tournaments? Okay, did you win? Okay, I bet you would have beaten them in poetry maybe, but not football,
If you
right?
were from Salset, I think you have a very good opportunity of winning.
Yes. Okay, so if you wanted more viewership, you could have picked cricket. Why football, to be honest? Why did you pick football? And obviously, I think you have some history in football. You probably played football, right?
Not very well, but yeah. I mean, I played with football.
With.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's not delve too much into that, playing with football part. All right, so how would you describe Sacred Grounds to someone who thinks of football only as a televised commercial sport?
Football in itself, I think, is the greatest pan-cultural entity there is. More than any art or music, it just transcends all borders. And there's nothing that everybody listens to, right? Or dances in the same way or enjoys a certain style of music or dance. But almost all the countries in the world enjoy football. So inherently, it has got this huge reach. Plus, I think it is also very easy to play. It's very, you can just understand while watching. The finer details and tactics aside, the entire thing is you kick a ball to the other side of the goal. And
Right.
11 people run from this side, 11 people run from that side. So it's a very simple sort of game to follow.
The simplification almost disrespects it, but I can understand it, yeah.
Yeah, so everybody likes and watches it. Like even if I don't know anything, everybody watches the World Cup.
Yes.
It's like an event that you have to be, there to watch.
You get it. You just get it by watching.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
intuitively you'll understand that sport. So these two, plus I love football myself, and then cricket in India already has great writers and a lot of people writing and a lot of research done. And I felt football lacked it, like especially from a cultural point of view. So why is football popular in Northeast and not so much say in Haryana or Madhya Pradesh at the same level, right? Why is it in Goa? Why is it in Kerala? Maybe not so much in the middle part of the country as much. So there has to be a reason and historically or culturally some resonance. So if you want to understand this and understand that culture, then I would suggest you read the book.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. You should all buy the book. It's available in Amazon. It's available as a ebook also. So I suggest you buy the book. Unfortunately, we don't have it with us right now. But let's see. By next week, it might reach our book cafe here. And you can buy it there. And maybe if you want a signed copy, he can send it. He's sending me one, by the way. Yeah. I'll show it to you guys. So, in terms of football and population, I have to ask you this. In a population of more than 1 billion, why can't we get just 11 guys to participate in the World Cup? What could be the reason? Our grassroots programs seem to be doing well, but we can't get 11 people to actually compete in the World Cup. Good enough. But you kept Mizoram on a very high level. And I also want to ask you this. Mizoram versus the rest of India, who would win?
it's a tough. Mizoram, you asked Northeast versus the South, I said Northeast. Mizoram alone versus the rest of India might be a tough match, huh? Maybe a draw. Yeah. Yeah.
So my next question, in a population of more than 1 billion,
Yeah.
why isn't football gaining more heads as compared to cricket? We can't even have 11 people to represent us in the World Cup.
Yeah, so few reasons here. One is when we say population of 1 billion, maybe a small section of that will be able to play football. Because for a lot of them, survival is more important than playing any sport, right? So you take away that huge chunk and then you'll have a finer number. Then comes the problem that we have with associations running the game. Mizoram, to be completely honest, is an amazing association. They do a great job in terms of grassroots development. You have the Nopang League that is being run now. So many things are being done. Teteya has done a phenomenal job in that sense. Who's now the sports minister?
Yes.
He used to be the football secretary. So they have done a great job. But majority of them, they don't play enough games. Simply put, right? You speak to Renedy Singh, who's from Manipur. He had a conversation with me where he said they played against Japan in the under 17 or under 19. Under 17, I think. And they lost 2-1. And he played against this guy called Nakamura. Nakamura then went on to play for Celtic in Scotland and had a great career and all. So he said 7 years later, we played against each other again. And we lost 7-0. Wow. So he said the difference between that, in that 7 years, they played so much more and gained so much level, whereas we don't do that. So an average Japanese player plays 48 to 52 games from say 13 onwards. We play maybe 24 to 32 games.
Okay.
So every year you're losing say 15 or 20 games. And over time it stacks up and then they just go to the next level. So it's tough for us to break it without playing enough games. Cricket, they play a lot.
They play a lot, yes.
All of them. Like you go to Mumbai on the Maidans, they're always playing. Or you play in, go to Karnataka, I think every weekend there'll be like at least 600 games. So that is not there in football. That's the biggest problem. It's administrative redundancy and nobody wants to plan long term. I want to succeed in my term so that I get the sort of respect. Nobody wants to think about 30 years down, whereas Japanese started a program for 100 years. And 30 years later, they are in the quarterfinal of the World Cup. So,
yeah, that's a sad reality we live in, I guess. But let's see. Maybe after Modi, maybe not now, but after Modi, things might change.
This government is focused on sports, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair, but then still, could the focus just be on paper?
Football is not high on priority.
Exactly.
Clearly, because if I am a governing body, I need more success to be at the international level. So you would pick sports that give you that kind of international success. So cricket does, badminton does to an extent, some Olympic sports where you can win. Neeraj has done a good job, so on and so forth. Football, you mostly play domestic and you play few tournaments abroad and we don't win much internationally anyway. So maybe not high on the priority list and we don't win an Olympic medal either. So.
Yes. All right. So you were talking about Teteya, and you interviewed him last year or a year before?
3 years.
3 years ago. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Some time ago. So he was just a normal citizen at that time.
First time when we spoke here, he was a citizen.
Yeah.
Next time when we interviewed, he was a minister.
Yeah, he was a minister already. So we have two politicians who both have football backgrounds. One is JJ Lalpeklua, one is Teteya. You've interviewed both of them.
Yeah.
Right. So Teteya as a player, I don't really want to say this, but he's not known for being a good football player. But in terms of the rest, he's good. His management is good, his administration is good, and obviously, like, he's a good orator, and now he's become the minister. He forgot to come today, yeah, sadly. I don't know, his picture is up there. Maybe we should give him a mustache over there. Yeah. Yeah, we'll give him a good scolding. Pratap will give him a good scolding. So yeah, maybe he's become too political. I hope he doesn't see this, by the way. So, anyways, I think we can compare the two in terms of being a football player. JJ is up there, but I don't know exactly how he fares as a politician because he's an MLA, and MLA can do so much, right? But I think we were discussing this an hour before. Michael Jordan is one of the best or the best basketball player in the whole world. But when he had ownership with the Washington Wizards, he failed miserably. So I think it's fair to say that football players shouldn't be politicians, shouldn't run administrations and all. So can you give us what you think about how you see, what's the difference between JJ Lalpeklua and our sports minister Putetea?
Well, I rate Tete as one of the best administrators in the country, especially for what he did for football and everything I hear about him since as a minister, because I am not directly, involved or in any way knowing all this. And I ask people, they tell me it is a very good minister as well. So obviously he's got this, I don't know about his football skills, but obviously he's got great ability to conduct and, do things for the people. One thing I will say is we have in general seen a lot of people in politics using sports or sportsmen becoming politicians. You have Mary Kom, you had P.T. Usha was an MP or some, no, P.T. Usha, what was her name? Kalyan Chaubey was another one who was trying to be in politics. Biren Singh, who from the previous chief minister in Manipur was a former player. Lolendro tried his hand. I don't think it ended up being successful. And you also have Yangmaso Shaiza, who was the first chief minister of Manipur from the hills. He's from Ukrul. He was a former player who represented this, district and all that. So it seems like it's not transferable. Just because you're a good player doesn't mean you're a good administrator. And one thing I found with players, especially good players, is that they are sort of unaware of a larger world. Because you have to put so much effort to be good in something that you might have drawbacks in other places. Now, Sunil Chhetri, for example, is someone in the last, say, 10 years has taken a lot of pains to educate himself about things that are happening around the world. He's forcing himself to read a lot and, did further educations in MBA and all that kind of stuff. Not a lot of players do that. So they are sort of limited in their growth level, I feel. Might not be always true. There will be exceptions. Like I said, Yangmaso Shaisa was a clear exception. But that does happen though.
Yeah, I can totally understand. I also play basketball. I consider myself pretty okay. But you don't see me in the NBA, right? So I'm running a business now.
But I have to say this. You were joking with that about Tete, right? Earlier. In the south, where I'm from, this would never happen. Because for you, he is a friend, right?
Yes.
And I noticed this in the northeast region in general, where you have very close relationship with your politician. In the south or in the north or in the mainland India, as we call it, it's not possible. We don't do that. Yesterday, in my two-wheeler taxi, I was coming and the chief minister's car was in front of me. And we overtook the car and went. In the south, they would block the roads for half an hour, how much ever it takes for them to go. It's just so different from what I've seen. And one funny story I heard in Meghalaya, so the politicians played a game against the officers. And it was some event. So they scored 5. Officers scored 5. So a politician apparently went and asked them, why are you scoring so much? Stop. And he said, that is a goal for every single year you're in term. I can't imagine us in the mainland saying this to a politician. It just won't happen.
It's quite different here. And if Tete were here, forget me. He would probably joke about Pratap here again. So in the last Lit Fest also, you remember, Tete did a speech. Yeah, man, I'm not pulling your leg. I'm just saying Tete would do that. And he did that actually. So our sense of humor is up there. We joke a lot about things and sometimes it also reaches a point that becomes uncomfortable. But the thing is, we are mostly comfortable with jokes like this. We know it's jokes. We know we are joking, right, Pratap? Yeah. All right, so which region or tournament in your reading best captures the idea of football as a local religion or ritual?
It's the Northeast.
Northeast.
There is a huge, Kerala Sevens is also amazing in its own way. But as a whole region, I think what happens in Northeast is phenomenal. And one small thing that happened, not a small thing, it became a huge chapter in my book. I met Sanjay Da in Shillong, and he mentioned about Vati Iyer, who is a reverend in Nagaland, who played a football game as a reconciliation football match in 2008 between the undergrounds and the Naga Ho-Hos and these social groups. After he spoke, I didn't plan to go to Nagaland, but that was such a big thing, I could not go. And anyway, our first independent Indian captain came from there, Dr. Telimaran Ao. So what happened to a state that produced that kind of a player, and why they have not continued to produce that same level, despite having tremendous football culture. You see their YouTube numbers on their local tournaments, it is beyond I-League numbers, phenomenal numbers. So that kind of love and affection, and recently, I'm a little off topic here, they won Mon district, which is the district at the far end. They won a tournament, it's like the border district. They won a tournament, local inter-district tournament in Nagaland. They are inhabited by Konyak tribes live there. So everything I heard, they are sort of kept in a distance, it's not very developed when compared to Kohima or Dimapur. So when Mon won it, it became, as they went further and further, the whole Nagaland started coming in support of them. They became this beautiful underdog story. They would sing a love song in the stadium, some Konyak love song. It became like their anthem. And they won, and I spoke to a few players there, and they were like, oh, now we are finally, people are noticing us. We can tell them. And they had a day off in the district. Government gave a day off in celebration, because it was such a huge representation for them. So football provides that maybe more than any other sport.
Yeah. True, that's quite true, yeah. For Northeast, that is definitely true. So I may put you on a spot here. So for the whole of Northeast, which state do you think that way would take football as a religion?
If you look at the numbers coming, I think Manipur will be high.
Manipur, okay.
But I think from a communal experience, I think Mizoram will be more interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's because of the YMA also. Because one of the biggest tournaments that are being held is being backed by the YMA, is the YMA tournament. If it's not the YMA tournament, we have the VC tournament, Village Council tournament, and it's all community based. So that way, yeah, I think we could be on top there. Definitely.
The last inter-village I went, there were 3 ministers, all uninvited, just came to watch the game.
Yeah.
And they were all
just
sitting.
Came as normal citizens.
Yeah, one
right?
of them went to sit with his Vivacon, which was a team that his area, I guess. He went to sit with them. The other 2 were sitting in the Shamyana.
Which year was this?
Last year.
Last year, okay. Tete was there?
Tete was one, and there was one power minister, I think.
Yeah.
And then one more person,
Yes. Yeah, man, we're that much deep into football, definitely. I would definitely say that. I would totally agree with you there. So, what does the phrase people's football mean in the context of your book? And why does it matter for Indian literature?
Well, people's football, because I want to write about football that belongs to the people, by the people, of the people, that kind of thing. Because at the highest level, once the money comes in, it becomes a little corporate. It loses something. This is something that happened world over. You have seen Premier League fans talking about it being more soulless as the year goes on and stuff. So people's football is community football.
Community football. So it's easier to relate. We relate more when you say people's football.
It means a lot.
Okay. So you've traveled around India, and like you also mentioned, how diverse India is. So I'm sure, I think you mentioned telling me you spoke 5 languages, right?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, 5 languages, and that must have helped you in the 5 languages, in the 5 states that spoke those languages. But we're more than 5 states, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you must have found difficulty even in Mizoram, where not everyone speaks English, and very few speak Hindi as well. So tell me, which state was the most difficult in terms of trying to translate things? And I'm sure you had translators, and things get lost in translation also. Can you tell me a bit about your journey, meeting people, interviewing them, and doing the translations?
So hardest is probably Nagaland.
Okay.
I don't think it is a language thing. I think it might be more of a personality thing. They're little reluctant to talk. That's why I felt, I might be wrong, or maybe I spoke to the more reluctant group of people. But yeah, that was interesting. And we had this conversation, I remember, a couple of years ago when I came to your cafe. And you said somebody from here should write about the stories about, Mizoram. The biggest challenge I felt is to represent events and things correctly. Because as an outsider, I will always come with a different perspective. And then it's up to me to make sure that I understand when it's, especially the book also talks about insurgency here or the Goan liberation movement and the Kerala's Mapla Lehla and all these things, which are very political stuff. And I need to make sure that I give them the due justification for it. It shouldn't just be writing in black and white, right? It's not black and white. So that I found very difficult, especially because a lot of the best literature is written in local languages. So for many of them, I could use Google Translate, right? Assamese I could convert, or Punjabi I could convert. But the Northeast languages, your script is in English, and it doesn't translate, so it becomes a little hard.
Not even 50% accurate, especially for Mizo. It's
Yeah,
very difficult.
nothing. I think I couldn't get the Meghalaya Khasi language, no translation. Manipuri, I think something's written in Bengali script, but in different language.
Still,
Yeah.
it won't be that accurate still, yeah.
No, so I couldn't do any of that. So then I had to rely on academics from that region to tell me what exactly was the thought behind certain actions and all that. So that was quite difficult.
Yeah.
And I was always concerned when somebody reads, I'm like, will they believe or have I got it wrong? So that was there, yeah.
Yeah, well, if you got the translation correct, whether they believe or not is irrelevant. I think it should be that you translate it correctly, right? So you can blame it on Tete or me, maybe who actually told you the facts or what was supposed to be the fact, right? But if you got the translation correct, then you got your job done, right?
But even there, so if there, because Sir spoke so much about Goa part, a lot of James Mills and few others wrote about Goa, Goan football. But they write it from the perspective of a colonial person looking into Goa, right? So you need to understand the other side, right? Why Goa was fighting for liberation or for whatever. That is what I need to say, right? So writing is also from a different perspective, I guess. So that kind of difficulty was there mostly.
All right. Yeah, so I guess you will know the answers to all of those things, especially the Mizos, when you read the book. So buy the book, read the book, and if you want a signed copy, like I said, I can get it for you.
Sure, yeah.
Yes. So do we still have time, Pratap?
I think we can take some questions since
Yes.
he's also going to take the train. And we have 2 more sessions.
Yes.
We'll open the house for questions, for Q&A. Anyone wants to ask Sandeep or Marwa a question?
Very interesting talk. I really liked it.
Thank you, sir.
What about the negative side of that? The politics that enters into the game, football. I'll give you an example. In Goa, we had a leading club with a great footballer. I think his name was Francis. I'm talking about 20, 30 years back probably. And then...
This is Francis D'Souza?
I don't remember exactly, but more than 20 years back, 30 years back probably. He was noticed by the football dons, and suddenly one day he got an offer from another Bengali club,
Yeah.
and he was taken over there. And because probably he was feeling greedy and went there in search of greener pasture there, but then he was made to sit by the sidelines because they wanted to finish him. He was a challenge for them. So this is another approach, dark side of football.
Yeah.
This is what I was expecting from you.
Yeah, so that is Francis D'Souza, who's the first Goan player to go and be professional in Calcutta. He had a bad time, like you said. Actually, the only Goan who did well is Alberto Di Cunha. Generally, Goan players tend to stay on in Goa because from what I understand, they are saying it's Susegad, as they say. That kind of chill life that they want to live in. Bengal is a lot of problems with the media and pressure. But this political part is true. There is a lot of politics. Whoever is in power will control certain things. So the former players from Mizoram, even Manipur, they spoke about the troubles they faced when they went abroad, right? When they went and they tried to play, or they would be called for the national camp, but the letter won't reach here until the camp is already started. So then they can't go. So all these things happened. I asked Mama that when he was there in Calcutta, whether he faced any othering from the people, and he said, I didn't know the language, so I don't know. So so if they said anything, I didn't know. But I know a lot of players, even to this day in Bengal and all, who face that kind of stuff. And this political part is a big problem. Like in Goa itself, you have Dempo, Vasco, many of them who are mining barons, who use football as a way to say good things about themselves. Churchill Alamao is another one, who is a MLA, sorry, Chief Minister itself. Yeah, he is also involved in football. So you have all these sort of interconnection between big businesses, politicians, and all of them coming in, and they'll play their role in sometimes ruining players' careers and sometimes helping maybe not the same level of players go up or something or the other. So that does happen, sir, unfortunately. Can't help it.
Okay. A very good evening. Firstly, thank you so much for the fascinating insights.
Thank you.
I do have one question, and it might sound rude. I mean, we've been doing a little bit of chest thumping and how much we love football in the Northeast and all that, right? But when it comes to the premier tournament in the country, let's say the Santosh Trophy, like in the last 50 years, I think Northeast has only won it twice, once Manipur, once us. What would you attribute that to? If we are so good, how come we're not winning anything?
So Santosh Trophy, I think, is no longer what it used to be. Because your top players play in ISL, I-League, and only ones who are playing below I-League 2, they are allowed to participate in Santosh Trophy. So your Mizoram's best players are not playing in Santosh Trophy. If they were, I think results could have been very different. And a lot of the Mizoram players or Manipuri players especially, they go in different places and play football and play Santosh Trophy for other teams. Like for example, Renedy has played for Calcutta. I.M. Vijayan from Kerala has played for Bengal. So that also happens a lot. And I loved this, by the way. When Santosh Trophy last year was happening, 2 years ago, and I was here for a inter-village tournament. And Mizoram was playing, I think, the next day or so. So there was a WhatsApp group of that region, and they were texting saying, there was a poll, should we go further in the Santosh Trophy or should we get knocked out so that our players return and play for our community club? And a lot of them voted yes, come back and play for the community club. So it means so much more to play for this club. And you also find these kind of people, you know, Romin Tanga, who played Lengpui. So his brother actually played for India, Fanai. But Romin Tanga is a significantly more bigger name here because he won YMA tournament for Lengpui, and he was a great left-footed midfielder. He didn't make it at the highest level for whatever reason, injuries and whatnot. But it's fascinating the love that he gets here because what he did for his community. So there is different reasons for it, but Santosh Trophy, I wouldn't look at it as a barometer anymore about how strong a certain football culture is in different places now.